So basically, what we've created is this technology is repurposed technology from the last 5 years. Oliver's been developing inertial motion capture technology, but really he started about 20 years ago, and pretty much what it's evolved to is at this point sensors have finally gotten small enough so we can do inertial motion capture on fingers. And around the advent of VR, about 18 months ago, it became apparent that the consumers might finally be ready, because these systems were sold just for high-end purposes, for data analysis, for motion analysis, for motion capture for big studios, etc. But there's never been a big enough market for it to have the price be anything less than $20,000 per system or something like that. So with the sense, of course, with technology, costs always come down, and manufacturing becomes easier and easier. So as soon as there's the demand for it, which is now apparent with VR, it's okay. We can finally release this to consumers. And so the first iteration of that is this dev kit, because we need to get it. Obviously, it's no good to have something come out but have there be nothing playable for it. So first you have to get to developers. First you have to get it to people so they can start experimenting with it. And really, it's been said that the first pillar of VR is the head-mounted display, with the second pillar being the control input. And so, kind of in response to various control inputs that are out there, we feel like people should start with fingers, start with whole hand tracking. And it's difficult to explain until you really get to try it, but it's the sense of self that you get. Because if you've ever been on a cave tour, in a cave tour, they'll always do this. Inevitably, they always do the moment where they're like, "We're going to show you pitch blackness. We're going to turn the lights off, and you're going to know what true darkness is like." But every single time, if you've ever done that, if you hold your hand in front of your face, your mind thinks it can still see your hand, even though it's impossible. And they tell you, what you're seeing is just a figment of your mind is creating that in front of you. You can't actually see it. And so the idea is that your hands are so key to your sense of self, because every single time you reach for something, you see it. Every day, it's if there's one part of your body you see more than anything else, it's your hands, it's your fingers.
Sure.
So the idea is, within a virtual world, it's absolutely essential that we have hands and fingers that move like our hands and fingers do. They don't necessarily need to be your same skin tone. They don't necessarily need to be your same race or your same, you don't have to be, you could be an alien, you could be anything, but they have to move organically the way your hands and fingers do in order for you to accept it. It's like, hey, this is me. I'm in this world, and I care about myself now like I would care about myself in the real world. And so that's what our goal has been to create with this. As VR is in its infancy, it's been said that the only thing that can really kill off VR right now is bad VR. It's if people try it and they're like, it's gimmicky, it's not fun. It's like, so we're trying to take a gimmick-free approach to creating a control input where you see yourself. And so, of course, people gravitate immediately to, you can pick up objects, you can do this stuff. But to us, the bigger side of it is, of course, you can do all that stuff. But beyond that, where it really excels is nonverbal communication. So that's why today what we're demoing is a multiplayer demo. Because the idea is you can go for the first time into a virtual world, and you can look and you can see your friend, and he is talking to you, and he waves at you, and you can see your friend standing you crossing his arms, and you're like, my friend does always cross his arms when he talks. You know that's him, because it's been created. This side, you know that's him because it's been created. Because you see his manner and you recognize, and that was a huge moment for us when people could start to look around the room at a bunch of virtual guys and be like, and they all have the same character model. We just have them be like, this guy, that's Brandon. That's my friend Alex. That's my friend this guy, and I know, and my friends we can hang out. So that's what we really try to accomplish.
That's really awesome. So I guess you're primarily making for the PC right now.
Yes. So the dev kit is primarily for computers, because ideally it's to get out there. We want to be as open source as possible for people to be able to tinker with it and really explore the tech. We want to provide the tech, and then people can take it where they will with that technology once they have it. So basically, the dev kit will come with drivers. It'll come with out-of-the-box support for Unity, Unreal 4, and then of course the SDK. It could be ultimately it's just an input device. It can be repurposed for anything. It can fly drones. It can do whatever. It's pretty much the peak of your imagination. Whatever you can do with the rotational information of your hand, you can do it with this. It's just a matter of creating that application for it.
Oh, so what degree, so I guess primarily you're focused on gaming, but it seems to me like you're also stretching out into non-gaming application.
Gamers are the early adopters. Gamers take technology because they're always looking for what's next for gaming. And so it's perfectly, and for me, from my background as a gamer, of course I immediately gravitate towards gaming. That's what I want to be able to enter. I watched the movie Avatar, and I want to be able to do that. One of my lamentations about our world is I hear there's a lot of people are like, it's too bad that everything's already been explored. I wish I could go explore something new. It's like, well, now we can create virtual worlds, and you can explore things for the first time. It's like, so we could bring that back. You can be Magellan, you could be an early explorer, and you could go through like an idea of just like really taking the pace of games and slowing it down, and just being able to explore and experience it like it's something new for the first time.
Excellent. So in terms of like progress, are you guys fairly early on in the development?
Basically, so it's a mixed bag.
Yeah.
Because the development of the hardware has been going on ongoingly for the last 20 years as sensors have gone down slower, smaller and smaller. And inertial systems, basically, there's 20 years of expertise going on this. And so, unlike most startups, it's not a new technology. This is a technology that's being used. It's just never been used for this before. And so, what's new in development is the purposing it for VR. So, for example, right now the current system, no one's ever gone and optimized it for latency, because up to this point, people have used it for data capture, for motion analysis, for motion capture. It doesn't really matter if it's 50 milliseconds of lag or 20 milliseconds of lag, but for the first time now, that matters. And so it's like, so now we're going back in, tearing it apart, and optimizing it and really doing it. And the promising thing is that's never been done before, so we know there's tons of headroom for that.
Yeah.
And it's really exciting. But so sort of a mix in terms of, I mean, the first time it was ever seen paired with a head-mounted display was 3 weeks ago at this point. And so that was the first time we ever had it. So all the demos you see with like that are only 3 weeks old, but obviously the technology is years and years old in development at this time. So that's nice. So the technology is stable and solid, but we just barely scratched the surface with the application of it.
Okay. So do you have some like a projected release date or something like that?
So the hardware should be shipping by the end of this year is the goal. And most tech Kickstarters, they always tend to miss the projected date. We're confident that we should be able to make ours due to the fact that this hardware, there's already 500 of these systems out in the world. Obviously, they were the ones that were made for a much more specialized market, but it's already tried and tested. So most of the R&D in terms of optimizing the hardware, on the hardware side, it's already done. It's really just the development of the SDK for game development that needs to get done, and then the mass production.
Okay. So is there